Justin Trudeau's era of Glasnost. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.Media. Does your memory go back to the Cold War? Do you remember when Mikhail Gorbachev promised an era of Glasnost and U.S.-Soviet relations? He was going to bring in a new era of openness, not be the dark, opaque regime that forced people in the West to rely on Kremlinology, trying to determine who was standing next to who to figure out who was in power. That's pretty much what Justin Trudeau was promising, all in the lead up to the election campaign, all through the election campaign, and kind of stopped pretty quickly, didn't it? Today, we find out that Justin Trudeau had another episode where he held a big event and didn't tell anyone from the media. How did we find out? Via Twitter. Check this out. From the Canadian Labour Congress, today, Justin Trudeau became the first sitting PM in more than 50 years to address Canada's labour movement. Don't you think that's something the media would want to know about? Don't you think that's maybe something we should get pictures of, maybe some audio, listen in on his speech? Nope. The media wasn't informed. Reporters outraged, saying, why weren't we told anything? The only reason we know what was said in the speech is because Reuters obtained a copy of the audio recording. And in that speech, Justin Trudeau talked about a couple of things. One, we know from the labor movement, he promised that he will repeal Bill C-377. That's the one that tells union members where their dues money is going. And also that he will repeal Bill C-525, the bill that gave workers in federal regulated industries the ability to have the secret ballot when determining whether to certify or decertify a union. That's not shocking. Trudeau had promised those measures to the labor movement all through the campaign, and they returned the favor by campaigning heavily for him, spending lots of money for him. But then there was the subject of Bombardier. Should Bombardier be getting federal subsidies? The Quebec government has already agreed to help Bombardier bail them out as they struggle with new jet designs and a lack of cash. They're a major company, a major employer. Trudeau said it would be decided on a business case. They have to make a business case for getting the money. These are all things that the media should be aware of. These should not be backroom promises to the labor movement that helped get Justin Trudeau elected. But this is the new area of Glasnost. Trudeau said he won't be closed off to the media the way the Harper regime was. And here he is excluding the media completely. Last week, it was selective media being invited to an event. You remember hearing about the embarrassment that foreign affairs staff were. They were cheering for Trudeau, posing for selfies with him. As Scott Gilmore of Maclean's, he's a writer for Maclean's as well as having other jobs, and he's also the husband of Catherine McKenna, the Liberal MP for Ottawa Centre and Justin Trudeau's Minister of the Environment. Even he tweeted out that the foreign affairs bureaucrats were showing themselves to be the liberal hacks the Conservatives had already feared they were for the last 10 years. But he wasn't the only one complaining about what happened. Justin Trudeau appearing at the Foreign Affairs, now Global Affairs headquarters, and Stéphane Dion reacting to the Keystone XL decision, but only select television news outlets were alerted to this. Not the print media, not web-based media, just select television media outlets. If Stephen Harper or his ministers were going to make a major announcement like that, the entire press gallery would have been notified. It would not have been, we'll tell Global and CBC and CTV, but not the rest of you. That never would have happened, and if it did, it would have been a story for days. Well, let me read you some of the upset tweets that came out of that. Althea Raj from Huffington Post, who oftentimes acts as Gerald Butts' stenographer, writing down everything he tells her to, she wrote out, "This is a really terrible day for at-party Liberal media relations. Don't treat print web like second-class outlets. We also have video needs." She sent out another tweet. "I find this Liberal comms plan mind-boggling. I take back the grade from last night's at issue. This is a D, and why? God only knows." Tonda McCharles from the Toronto Red Star put this out. "I get Liberals are still staffing up, but not to flag newser by foreign affairs men plus cheerleaders to all press gallery is unprofessional." Unprofessional to say the least, but this is the new era that Justin Trudeau promised. I wonder how much this is going to impact his honeymoon with the media. I've told you that the media won't be asking him tough questions. Now, I mostly assumed that that was going to be because they don't want to ask him tough questions. They mostly agree with what he has to say, what he's going to do. Now it turns out they're not going to ask him tough questions because he's not going to tell them where he is. So much for openness, so much for transparency. Like his promise of a cabinet based on gender equality, Trudeau is already not delivering.